Ponytails podcast. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ponytails podcast. I am Andres Gamboa, and if this is your first episode, welcome. Hopefully, you sold books, but if you didn't, let me tell you a little bit about what this is. We interview people who sold books door to door with a company called Southwestern Advantage, which is one of the oldest companies in the United States. It was started in 1860 or 1855 or something like that. We're not affiliated with a company at all by any means. All we have in common is that we're people who went through their program, which is an internship that they offer to college students all over the country and all over the world, as you guys have probably found this month. So this June, we've been interviewing people from Europe who, or I guess, who are not originally born in the United States per se, or currently live outside of the United States, who come here for the summer just to do this crazy thing of going door to door selling these educational books to help kids with homework and all that jazz. And so this is our last episode at the end of June, and we are super excited for our guest today. But before I bring our guest on, a couple of announcements. These are new. They're going to be changing as they go along. And guys, this is a big one. Our merch is here. So let me share with you guys what this looks like. I'm super excited. Hope you guys enjoy. There's going to be more items going to be added, but they're going to, if you're listening to this now, it's live. If you're listening to this episode, they're going live tomorrow. Our store, you can go to the ponytailspodcast.com and check it out. It's on the screen there, theponytailspodcast.com, and check it out. And let me share with you guys what it kind of looks like. We got some pretty cool things going on right here. Check it out. I'll do the full screen here. Boom. Okay, we have Bro Tanks. What's up? Ladies, you have a cool crop top here for the summer to beat the heat. We also have some tank tops. Baby merch. What up? That's so fun. Look at that baby. We got some mugs, hats, bottles are coming. We also have a pullover for like the cool summer nights and a frocket with the good old units. You guys can actually see here. Look at that. They come in different colors, so you guys can click through and pay through PayPal. And so there you go. Boom. Here is the back of this one. Check it out. Pretty sweet. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Again, that's live July 1st. So we are going to have that available to you tomorrow. Or I guess if you're listening to this later on, July 1st is today. It's available July 1st. So anyway, that is the first one. Now, on to the next announcement. Guys, remember the deadline for BIZZLER is July 15th to sign up to get to go to BIZZLER. So August 15th through the 19th, we are going to Mexico, to Cancun. But it's going to be an alumni get-together, but Sizzler vibes. So we called it BIZZLER. It'll be the first alumni reunion out and with Sizzler vibes that I know of. So we're super excited for that. A lot of people talked about doing this, but we are happy to be able to do it for you all. So if you still want to come, August 15th through the 19th, you can click the link below. There's going to be a description and a video as well. So there's two links. One's a video explaining all the details, costs, pricing, yada yada yada, how to get signed up, and then the actual link to get signed up is going to be below that. So if you already know the details, you can just go ahead and straight click on that and then submit your information. You will get added to the group of people that are going. So excited news for that. Last news of the day. Our newsletter is going to be going live, and this table is going to be going live August 1st. Now, we've been teasing about this for a long time. It's been kind of difficult to figure out actually how to make this work, but we are able to figure it out finally. And we are doing this thing where it's called the stable. Our fans can go live there, and we're trying to figure out different pricing options that you can if you want to be part of the paid membership, but otherwise it's going to be free. All you got to do is sign up with your email or a text message, and you're going to be receiving our newsletter called The Colt, COLT. Everything here is horse themed, as you can probably figure it out. And so if you sign up for the Colt, you're going to get a bunch of stuff free. You can win prizes, discount on that merch that I was showing earlier. You can also keep track of your units, YOUNITS, which is you get units for sharing, liking, commenting, buying stuff. It's pretty fun. So we're gonna have the trots that are on there. It's gonna be more details on that coming out, but just wanted to start rolling it out, start announcing it ahead of time. So if you guys want to get signed up, if you want more details on how to get signed up, just make sure you message us. There's also a form on our website. If you go to the ponytailspodcast.com, just scroll down a little bit and hit type in your email, and essentially that'll get you signed up so you guys can hear more about what's happening here at the show starting August 1st. So excited about that. And then last but not least, we are working in partnership with a bunch of different cool alumni who are doing awesome things. And this month, we're going to be doing a variety of just general postings for people who are looking for awesome people to join their teams or who want to tell you a little bit about what they do. And we're also going to be integrating, we're calling tips of the week or tips of the month by our sponsors, by our coaches and our friends here at the show. So the first tip of the week is coming from Will Metscher. Whoop, whoop. My homeboy. Love you, Will. Hope you're listening, buddy. You are awesome. But his tip for you guys from his Southwestern consulting career and what he's learned is that we're really good at avoiding things that are hard if we're not intentional about seeing hard things as good and helpful. So doing one more rep and pushing yourself even 1% more every day prevents you from letting yourself off the hook of growth. Making that choice a habit makes it easier, and you end up overcoming your biggest challenge. Wisdom. Thank you so much, Will Metscher. You are the best. And then a quick shout out from our friends over at Elevate Wellness. These guys are the ones that are helping us get shredded for BIZZLER. Super awesome program that they have going on. They are Seth and Zane are the masterminds behind this. If you guys have questions about fitness, you're not sure about the nutrition or the workouts that you're doing to get like the fitness that you want, these guys are the guys to go to. They've invested over $30,000 into resources and training to allow them to help you get answers and accountability, really. So when a lot of people leave their fitness to just kind of like, oh, this is how it is, Seth and Zane help you identify the core principles of wellness that really allow you to elevate your mind, your body, and your life. For pricing, we'll get you in touch with them for your initial consult. Click on the link on the episode bio as well. You guys can get some info on that. And then last but not least, Cardinal Senior Benefits. Quick shout out to Quintin Roberts. Guys, also big announcement here. So Nick Taverdi is been one of our co-hosts in the past. He is currently moving towards what we call our derby meetings. And so this is where we get together with all our partners, all our sponsors who are super awesome book people doing awesome things. And they come and share some nuggets of wisdom. So imagine like having an advanced sales tape or an advanced sales meeting with a bunch of really successful entrepreneurs and just salespeople who are pouring into the things that they're learning in the respective industries. So we have all sorts of different industries, as you'll find, or as you may already know from listening on the show. But every other Friday on our LinkedIn and our Facebook, Nick goes live with our sponsors, and they share some really, really cool stuff. So, for example, this is just an excerpt that came from Quintin Roberts with Cardinal Senior Benefits. And so he had to this is what his thoughts were on overcoming challenges. And so you can change the neurochemistry of your brain by reading someone else's thoughts. So that was kind of his quote of the day. In other words, read books. So quick shout out to The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. If we can use other more resilient people to shape our thoughts, we'll become more resilient ourselves as well. So that was a really cool tip that he shared, and we're going to be sharing those more on the air. But you guys make sure you go catch those meetings. They're freaking awesome, those derby meetings every other Friday. Shout out to Nick for spearheading that. So that is all the announcement I have. Sorry, that was a lot of announcements, but that's okay. We got some really cool stuff going on here at the show, so I hope you guys are catching those. But now it's time to bring on our guest. So let me make sure this is our last European person that we have for the month of June for our European month. Make sure I'm pronouncing it right. So it's Silvija Ozola. I hope I said that correct. A little bit about Silvija. 6 summers sold. Pretty awesome. 2015 to 2020. So our last summer was that pandemic year. Rough. But I'm sure we'll hear more about that. She was part of the E1-Sparta organization and she went to school for University of Economics and Culture. And that's pretty sweet. Economics, let's go, baby. That's me. Her hometown is Sigulda, more like the countryside over in Latvia. And if you want to get a hold of her on Instagram and Facebook by her name, also on TikTok by HSUSA_Latvia. If you guys want to hear more about what she's up to, catch up with her. Her favorite squirrel, we started asking all our guests what their favorite squirrels are, and it is that she will persist until I succeed. I will persist until I succeed. Let's go. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Silvija Ozola. Did I say it right?
Yes, all good.
You're
one of the best Americans to actually pronounce the last name. Most of the times I don't try because after the first time everybody butchers it, and I just, yes, it's Ozola, whatever.
Fair enough. was Walla. I like how
Yes,
you're
yes.
telling me in the backstage that the O's aren't pronounced like oh, it's wa.
Hmm.
Was Walla. Wow,
Yeah,
that's sweet. And then your first name has a J in it, so I'm sure when you were here, people were saying Silvija,
yeah.
Silvija, Silvia.
Yes.
Nailed it. Cool. Well, welcome to the show. I'm happy that you're here. So
Yeah,
fun.
me too. I'm glad to share experience with more people than just my friends.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. When have you do you find that when you tell your friends that you did this crazy job that they just they either go bleh, like it's simple, or they just can't believe it. They're just shocked. Have you
It,
found that?
it's more like the first one. It's like, yeah, yeah, it sounds cool. I heard about it. Yeah, it's not as cool as you put it. And like, yeah, I have other things to do.
Well, I mean, it really isn't as cool. You know, you're sweating, knocking on doors, getting barked at by dogs, people yelling at you. Overall, it's not like the cool thing to do, but it's good for you for the most
Mhm.
part. Yeah, so it works. That's pretty fun. So okay, so let's catch up. Let's dive in. So 2020 was your last summer, and we'll get into your experience here in a little bit later in the show. But we always like to start off with catch us up. What's happened since 2020 till now? What are you up to now? And how have you moved on?
So I was partially ready to move on only because I I'm a person who likes to do everything at the same time, and so it means nothing gets done. So that's why summers were actually really productive for me because I couldn't possibly do anything else. But
Fair enough.
at the end of my last summer, my mom says that in her school, because she's also a teacher, they have available position for economics teachers. So it's not like home economics, what you have in America. It's like economy, as in high school, for like your stocks, understanding money, understanding your job opportunities, and
Wow.
stuff I'll teach first years
Right.
or
Brilliant.
be managers. And I thought, well, yeah, sure, let's start the teacher career. I hadn't finished my bachelor's by that time, but they didn't have any other choice because nobody wanted a position that only has 1 day a week that doesn't really pay much.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So okay, so hold on. Let me get this straight. So because we have like economics in at US and the US schools, but it's just basic stuff like supply and demand. It's not really like you're
I
talking
don't
about like
even teach that because
finance.
it's the like the most boring part of economics is the supply and demand. I hate teaching it because it's a simple concept, you'll get it later.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll make sense later in your life when, you know, when things are cheap or when they're not. That makes sense. But you
Yeah.
get to teach like the fun stuff like investing and stocks and oh wow, that's so cool.
Yeah,
That
I
is
get
so
to
cool.
bring on some random Southwestern people to talk about their experience in like stock markets. That's the most demand because I'm not very good at it yet. So I bring people who have done it since they were kids through their parents.
Right. That is so cool. I mean, I will say that that is one of the biggest. So I was in the financial world after I left Southwestern. I went with a company called Primerica, and they do investing and life insurance too.
Mhm,
Um, but uh, but yeah, I was amazed that when I here in the United States, when I would talk to people about basic like how does interest work, you know, like compound interest. If I put $1,000 away today, what is it worth in 30? It like the that simple like the rule 72, you know,
mhm,
that it just would blow people's mind like, and I'm talking grown people. They're in their 40s, like
mhm.
amazing. So the fact that you're teaching that, yes,
Yeah, well,
good
I'm
for
kind
you.
of like creating my own program. I'm not supposed to do that technically, uh, but they cannot really kick me out. So I teach the real world stuff.
That's amazing. You're changing the world. Those kids are gonna thank you so much later
Yeah,
on.
they better.
That's for sure. That is so fun. What are the things I guess that you've learned from Southwestern or that Southwestern taught you that are helping you today, like as you teach? Is there anything that you like found that crosses over?
Well, in general, Southwestern just gives the base of people in this case that will teach everything you're interested in. So because in Latvia we have this really cool office, and I really exploited it. I get to know everybody. It's like, I don't know you. What's your name? What you're majoring in? That's the start of conversation. Sometimes it ended there. Sometimes it kept longer, and that's how I learned new things. Learned that I'm interested in finances as well, but more like personal finance instead of like actual studying. And since I started also my own business while with Southwestern, one of the reasons why I needed to leave. Um, so too many things equal not the funnest last summer.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But but then as a teacher, do you find that like you were talking to me about backstage about like the scrolls that you had some of your kids
Mhm.
learn some of the scrolls and stuff like that? Are you like teaching them some of those principles besides like the scrolls? What like besides
I'm
economics, do you teach them some of those other things?
I'm trying to sneak it in. My mom is a language teacher, so Latvian language, and so we have this collab that I give kids books that they have to read any kind of books for the credit in Latvian language. And at the same time, if it's the correct book, anything in psychology, economics, business, self improvement, anything that I say, yeah, that looks like good for your future, they get credit in my lessons as well.
That's pretty smart.
So that's why the greatest salesman always works with the kids who really don't want to read. It's tiny. I have it in Latvian, and they if they read it through, you can read it in like 2-3 hours, and they're done, and they have their one of good marks to kind of pull them through the year.
That's pretty sweet. You
Mhm.
know, and it's funny because when you were talking about self-improvement, business economics, that book actually fits all of those categories. It
Yeah,
actually
it does.
it's good for all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, is it a business book? Yeah. Is it a self-improvement book? Uh-huh. Is
And
it
nobody asks questions what's in the book. They just see the size of it. It's like, yeah, I'll take it.
I'll read that for sure. Easy. I don't have to read the Harry Potter novels. We'll just that'll do.
Yeah, no.
Just a quick short one.
The ones
The
who read Harry Potter, they read through like have Atomic Habits and like the good real big books. Rich Dad Poor Dad usually is the one that kids who want to get away with just watching videos.
Right.
But I let
Yeah.
it. If they can explain it to me, the concepts, because I know the book backwards and forwards. If they can explain the concepts I need them to learn, let them be.
Fine. Ah, man, we need more teachers like you. You're awesome. That is so fun. So you said there was teaching, and did you have other businesses also that you're working on as well outside of school, or is school the main thing that you're doing?
Well, school wasn't supposed to be the main thing this year. It was because I took up teaching English. I'm done with that. I don't want to deal with primary school kids like middle school. But I publish books in general. My mom writes them and I publish them. Once a book girl, always a book girl.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so cool. So you're self-publishing?
Yes, so I'm just a middleman who knows everybody who can do what I want. And
Nice.
so technically I am a publisher, but I just do small
Very
things in
cool.
order to things to happen.
Very cool. Yeah, this is my book. I self-published it too. So I know the grind. It's a lot of work.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, it's but the cool thing is I have created a super cool social media for my mom, and she's like Latvian famous. She's one of the most famous teachers in Latvia
No
just because of
way.
Facebook.
That's so cool.
As
So
my
you're
mom says, I sell my mom.
that's it. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, you're using the networking skills, the associate, you're like the web, you're the person to go to.
Mhm.
That's awesome. That's pretty legit. That's so funny. Wow, that's so cool. And what are the plans in for your future? Do you want to stay teaching for a while, or what's like your next 5, 10 years look like?
So I'm definitely not quitting teaching economics. We're actually starting next year. We have this switch in education system in Latvia, and there's actually business as a class. So 4 lessons a week, straightforward business. So I'm gonna make kids create actual businesses, and hopefully, eventually, they develop it. I can be a partner in it, and we can all make money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not going away from that. And also the kids I'm teaching, it's an elite sports school that teaches the next Olympians in certain sports for Latvia. So the kids are from all over Latvia, selected specifically for sports purposes. So they have to do something besides just sports in order to make money in case of trauma or something like that, because they might not go to universities.
That's wild.
Yeah, so I
That is
cannot
so
quit it.
cool.
My conscience won't let me quit it.
That is so cool. So you're working with like these high performing athletes
Mhm.
sometimes that are going to be needing to learn this for, I mean, it's going to be helpful regardless. That is amazing. Do you get invited to the Olympics if they make it? Do you get to go?
Ooh. Well, I do teach them only for 3 years, but now I'm gonna have more in-depth work with them now on the business class. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, if you get invited, get me a ticket. Well, I'll go with you. I'll pay for it. I'll give you. I'll donate to your school. Whatever. Let me know.
Okay, that's like a good idea.
That's good. That's a good way to get a ticket. That's so fun. And so then, so that's part of. So the schooling is part of the future. Do you have any like business ventures that you're also wanting to pursue?
Yeah, I have more ideas than actual time, but I have realized right now I do the things that I think I can actually accomplish in the nearest future, and then the bigger ideas I can start when I'm 60.
That's fine.
Because it includes too many things. Because the reason why I started the school, because so Andrius Pellegrimas runs a school in
Yeah.
Lithuania,
Yeah.
and I visited it just to see if I want something similar myself in Latvia. Like I did it after my fifth or fourth summer already,
Mhm.
and I thought, well, this is cool. I want it. But
That's
so
amazing.
it's harder than it looks. I even started the master's degree to kind of pursue it, and yeah, the whole concept of education is much harder than it looks.
It is so hard. I mean, on his episode, we were talking about, and it just, by the way, if you guys are listening, it's literally the episode we just aired was this last Sunday. But yeah, when I asked him about, he's just like, oh yeah, and then I did this and I did that. But then in my head, I'm like, no, that is so hard. Like you're you're acting like it's not big of a deal because you're looking back, but it's difficult to get done what you did. He created a whole legit school, got all the
Yeah,
approvals, and it started with like 5 kids, and then it's built now. It's so crazy.
yeah.
So wild. You can do
And
it though.
I definitely can, and I'm just figuring out the time frame for it, when and how, and if I want to my mom be involved, I need to start it now because she's like past 60, and
Oh, yeah.
or if I want to do it on my own based on my mom's legacy, or there's a lot of what ifs, and I'm kind of a little bit of brain farts, like, oh, let's just do nothing.
Fair enough. As a bookman, I will encourage you. You can do it now. Do it yesterday. If not now, I will. I will act now. I will act now. I will act now. From
Yeah.
that good old scroll. Oh man, especially because if your mom is really well known as a teacher, that'd be so
Hmm.
cool. If you just said, "Hey, we're gonna go over here," and then your teaching style where you actually make sure that kids are actually learning, not just
Hmm.
spewing stuff from the front of the room, but you're actually teaching kids important things that are useful and wow, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. I have no doubt. I'm so excited to hear about it. Oh wow.
Gonna figure it
Have
out, yeah.
have you noticed because of what's going on in Ukraine? Have you noticed an influx into Latvia as well from of Ukrainian refugees, or are they, or how? What's that situation like right now for you guys?
So I know that the school system part, and it's just bonkers in general. So teachers are already underpaid, extra underpaid. So I
Hmm.
literally get for my economics teaching like €2 per hour. So that's, yeah,
What?
if I include like all the preparation time and
Sure.
actual class teaching, it's probably even a little bit less. So it's a hobby. It's just a hobby.
Wow.
I can
That's
made the
wild.
pay cut after Southwestern, and I really can feel it.
Yeah, I bet. That's crazy. So then the influx of kids, it's just
Yeah,
straining the system a little bit more, right?
and the Ukrainian kids are not the worst thing in general because they're super smart and they're willing to learn. And some of the little ones start to pick up Latvian language real quick. There's just this Latvian and Russian communities that we have in general, but
Mm.
Ukrainians on our purpose are putting kids in schools that are Latvian to kind of get away from the Russian schools. Though little Ukrainian kids can speak Russian, and it would be way easier for them to study in a Russian speaking classroom. But they don't, and then we have some kids who just try to do something. So a second grader, I just needed to fill in for one classroom. There's a random second grader from Ukraine. I speak no Russian, nowhere near Ukrainian, and so just trying to figure out how to communicate with him in a classroom of 20 other second graders is just crazy. I don't know how other teachers can deal with it, and we're not getting any extra funding for that. And also there's a mass quitting in teaching positions in general. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, next year we're threatening with strike starting 1st September, when usually school starts, unless something changes.
Wow. I did not know that the situation was I hear it's very similar here in the United States. Very, very
Hmm.
similar. And I'm sure you are aware because you sold books for education. So you're the similarities have to be pretty similar, but even worse now, I think. We've had so many teachers that I mean, in my opinion, teachers here don't make any money. Like, they it's I'm not sure that it's 2 euros an hour, but I think if you
Definitely
round
not.
it out, it probably actually. So just to give people an idea who are listening, like at least for us in the United States, I can't speak for Latvian schools, but based on what you're saying, it sounds very similar. I have a friend who teaches third grade. It's just an example, but I have multiple friends that teach different classes, different ages, but just one particular that I remember. So her name is Lex. She teaches third grade. She would, besides being the teaching hours, she has to grade things, and besides grading, she has to get her classroom set up. Besides getting her classroom set up, she works in a school that's a little bit more low income, so sometimes she'll get parents calling while she's off work. The summertime is really when she has some time off for like a month or so, but she has to go to meetings. Uh, she has to do conferences and stuff like that, self improvement stuff, added education stuff, continuing education stuff. So when you add up, probably if you divide how much she makes for all of the time spent throughout the year, it's got to be pretty low too. I mean, it's so, and when she has to go set up her classroom, the budget that she has is either non-existent or very low. So if she wants to hang up like a cool poster of the United States or the world or whatever, she has to pay out of pocket, which means
Mhm.
out of what she's already not making that much of, right? She does it because she loves it, and she does it because she knows it's important. And it's sad because here, at least, we're losing those people. We're losing teachers almost yearly. I mean, it's just bad. The hometown where I'm from, they had teachers. They were severely understaffed for this next upcoming year, like severely understaffed, and
Mhm.
it's scary. It's so scary. I didn't know it was like that elsewhere. I thought it was just us. Because
No,
right,
Estonians are
yikes.
doing pretty good comparingly.
What are they
they
doing?
they have a nice balance. So half of the hours that are like for so the money paid out are actually half of the hours are in the classroom or in the building that you're like dealing with kids, and the other half is for actually dealing with parents, messaging, filling in documents, preparation, and stuff like that. Plus, they get extra funding if they need to drive somewhere. They just get cash money for gas, no questions asked, and or bus tickets and stuff like that. So it's
Wow.
much more like nicer that way. And we're just struggling. Most of my paycheck went in gas this year Just
Just to get to school.
yeah. I started
Unbelievable.
using public transport because I couldn't pay my car gas that much.
That's so what you're telling me is a country that invests in its education system and in its teachers somehow is doing amazing in education.
Yeah.
Wow.
What
Wow.
a surprise. Yeah.
What a concept. Over here, we're investing in gun laws. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And schools are getting shot up. That's interesting. Interesting
Hmm.
how all of that just works out the way you think exactly it'll work out. So
Yeah.
anyway, enough on the politics. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. It's just crazy to think that we're not valuing those things that are so important in our cultures, right? The you were also telling me, for example, and I didn't know that this was similar, but that people when you teach them something, they're surprised that about that fact. That's like, how do you not know this basic, this
Yeah.
basic thing, right? Like, does that happen often in Latvia as well?
Well, now since I started teaching in a pandemic, in general, I'm not surprised about anything. So if I have a
Sure.
kids in a classroom asking me anything, like my mom says, there are no dumb questions; they're just incompetent answers. So that's why I was
Huh,
encouraged
I like that.
always to ask questions, even if it's the 50th time that I ask it. If I need to get it, I need to ask. So it's
That's brilliant.
completely fine. And after COVID, like half of the kids are just traumatized in general, and they don't know how to study whatsoever.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's changing. The world's changing so fast, and it's happening there too. Okay, that's good to
Hmm.
know. Because here, people, there's like videos. There's videos where people go walking around the street, and they're like, "All right, who's the president during the Civil War in the United States?" And the answers, the answers that people give that they're from here, like, or
Hmm.
who's the vice president? Some people like just simple stuff, like his U.S. history. Like just simple people don't know. It's like we, we're not doing a good job here. It's these are as a citizen, I had to become a citizen in the United States. I had to learn that,
Hmm.
but I would have not learned it otherwise, unless I really like worked to try to remember it. So it's good to know that it's not just here. But also, I like your mom's answer. There's no such thing as some questions, just incompetent answers. That's beautiful.
Because you can answer to a stupid question in a stupid way. It does necessarily it isn't necessarily incompetent. It's
Right.
just noting that, okay, you got your answer, I made fun of it, but you got your answer. So everybody's
And
happy.
that's right. Incompetent answers. I got told once by a coach there's no such thing as stupid questions, just stupid people with questions. And I was like, oh, well, I'm an idiot. Thanks,
Yeah,
coach.
I'm a smiling idiot selling a lot of books.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Wow, that's good. Actually, speaking of that, let's switch over to some Southwestern stuff. Thank you for sharing about your teaching. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Real quick, we'll do a quick shout out to a couple of our alumni, and then we'll switch into some Southwestern stories. And first up, wanted to talk about Southwestern real estate and some money advice from Pat Roach. Speaking of money, maybe Silvia, you might agree with this. So here's what Pat Roach said. He said, if you're struggling year after year to put away money into retirement, you got to make ambitious goals to earn and put away all the money you can into retirement on the first quarter of the year. When you motivate yourself and put yourself in a position to earn all your retirement money in the first quarter, you'll find yourself avoiding a lot of complacency that you may have had once. So that said, we can get you guys in touch with Pat so you can learn more about financial freedom as a real estate agent. They are expanding their team all over the country. Quick shout out also to Thought Leader. If you are a motivated person, if you have high performance sales experience and you're interested in making about 200,000 a year or more, working about 4 days a week from anywhere with an internet connection, sell an improvement offer is what you kind of want to do with an incredible track record of success. This is what they're doing here at Thought Leader. It's an online education company that's dedicated to helping professionals, entrepreneurs, change makers, and get their message out into the world by leveraging the largest stage in the world, which is the TEDx platform for public speaking. So that's pretty exciting. They're looking for two people from Southwestern alumni experience or who have Southwestern experience as advisors, sales advisors, to join their full remote team of 25. If you're interested, send Dillon Barr a message. He's the thought leader's head of sales and client experience. Of course, he sold books. He's an alumni, and you can email him. They're on the screen, db at thought-leader.com, so you guys learn more about that role. 200K a year, that's not bad. And a quick shout out from Quintin about networking. Here's the tip of the week for networking. You have to be very intentional about spending time with people that are where you want to be and do the things that those people you want to be um, around do. So in other words, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So make those people a part of your network and routine. When you're around mediocre people, you're able to convince yourself that your shit don't stink. So when you surround yourself with studs, you're probably going to be able to keep the growth mindset that you're looking for. And when you're choosy about your time spent, you'll be way better off. Cool advice. I like it. It's pretty sweet. Everybody take notes. Ooh, that's good. Write that down. So speaking of, that's good. Write that down, and some Southwestern stuff. Let's roll the clocks back, Silvia. So back, tell me a little bit about maybe your childhood in Latvia, what it was like growing up, going to school, and then how you got into this Southwestern experience.
Okay. So I started out as a wild kid in kindergarten. Uh, got a bit broken starting school. So basically, I started to be afraid from big crowds. I hated when people yelled, like the first teacher I had yelled at other people. So in general, until end of high school, most of the time I was more of a loner, since I wasn't really good at making friends. If I had one, then I kind of hold on to her until she left.
Fair enough.
And yeah, so stuff like that. But I wasn't extra confident or anything. I knew what I liked. I was really good on stage because I studied piano when I was little, because I started it and my mom didn't let me quit.
Mhm.
So no quit comes from my mom, because no matter how many times, how many years in a row I said, "How can somebody make a child do something they don't want?" And my mom just said, "Well, like this, you wanted it, you finish it." So it's 8 years of music school to get a diploma in order to have it finished. Afterwards, you can burn the piano if you want to, but it's it's still there, kind of does its own thing. And so I ended up in Southwestern just because I decided I want to change my whole life in general. I already, when I started university, I was more like this. I thought that only extroverted people were the ones who get what they want. So I started this very faking extrovert, and it worked. Like people saw me, and then they thought I'm smart, they thought I'm charismatic and stuff. So fake it till you make it kind of worked out. Didn't make me friends, but everybody knew me and kind of liked me.
Yeah.
And so Southwestern came really random. I had heard about it. I knew it was expensive to go to America. I had no money. I was living with my brother in a one-room apartment. And by one room, I mean just one room, not like one bedroom, one extra room,
Oh,
just like
like a
one.
studio.
No, it's like one separate room that you would think would be just for guests, living room, but that's the whole thing, and a little kitchen.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Tiny little place.
Yeah, we ended up 3 people living there at one point. So me and I'm at 19, and my brother at that time 34, and his friend 30 something in that one room.
Wow.
Yeah, just because he didn't have money, so somebody needed to pay the rent eventually.
My
So,
goodness.
but I said to my mom, I really, really, really want to go to USA, and she thought, well, the worst case scenario, we can pay off the debt eventually, and at least I got what I wanted to go to America. If she makes money, great. If not, no big deal. I had the pressure myself that I need to make money. But because I was approached really randomly, and it happened so quick that I couldn't decide not to go, because it was in the big end of March, and we fly out in end of May to US. So it was no time to think. It was just, okay, decision made, let's go.
Wow. So it was like it was kind of like I had the same experience where it was just like, all right, you want to do this? Okay, when do we leave? Next week or this Saturday? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because for us, we still need to get the visas and we still
Right.
need to learn anything. Because by the time I joined first year meetings that we have, they were doing close. So that's the first thing I learned was close. And I was pretty good at it ish in my first summer because I kind of never messed it up. 'Cause I didn't know else what to do. I just knew, okay, this is how you close.
What everyone likes about the way I do business. This is
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I tried to pull
I'm-
this off to people in Latvia. They really don't get it.
it's hard to explain to people the importance of it, but it's so huge. Like you have
Yeah,
to close. Try it.
yeah.
Just ask yes or no. Okay, no, cool. Thanks. See ya. People are
No.
just scared of the rejection.
Yeah.
Wow. So okay, so let me make sure. So you learn about this. You said it was pretty random. Was it just like a friend or someone floated you, or
No,
what? How did?
somebody floated me. Yeah, it was a random
Uh,
chica, uh, and at that point, and the only reason why she approached me because my school is small, and in March there's nobody there, only people who like do some random stuff. So I was with like boxes to create some kind of art project with the student union. Um, and so there's me and another girl going with these boxes. The other girl is already selected, which I learned at that point, to go to the summer. She quit in the end, in the middle of the summer.
early
She was
champion.
definitely not up to it. But then, because the girl approached me only because she had a follower be manager, and she needed to show that you have to approach everybody
Oh
even though
my
they look
gosh.
busy, even though there's nobody else and we should probably leave.
Unbelievable. Just
Mhm.
just
So I was a pony, straightforward pony.
I was gonna say I've said that on the show multiple times. Like people that go sell books, most of us, if not all of us, we're all ponies. You have to be a pony.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey, do you want to pay a ton of money to go and probably break even just to go to the United States and then come back home and
Probably break even.
like, right? It's really what it is. You're probably gonna break even because it's you have to sell. Even if you hit Sizzler, you're gonna break even. It's expensive. People don't realize how expensive it is for Europeans to come.
Yeah,
Um,
well, in order for me to break even in the first summer, I needed to make like 600 units. So it wasn't that bad. And
oh,
I reached it by the end of July. I didn't reach Sizzler, but I did reach like I would have sold it if I would understand what I'm doing in June, because I would round up the units, but I messed up so many things that are just like writing the order pads because yeah, we still had the paper orders, and I did not know what to do with them whatsoever until
yeah.
like mid of June.
Especially in 2015, that they were still doing paper order pads. I remember that,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
crazy to think now, but yeah, they were. That's wild. So okay, let me ask you this. So you're sitting here, you're about to go to the United States. You get here. What was your first impression of the USA? What versus? I mean, because I'm sure you had an expectation, but what was it comparatively?
I was I was preparing and doing everything. I forgot to get expectations, which is perfect. So everything came
That's the
as
best
it
quote.
came.
That's the best quote we might have had on the show in a long time. I was so focused on being prepared that I forgot expectations. That's awesome.
I think I knew like three what ifs. One of them was about rain, and I don't remember anything else. So nobody covered really anything, just the basics how to survive. And yeah, and don't go home about before 9, I think, and start before 9. So there's a kind of just few things generally engraved in me that I worked by, and everything else was improv.
Oh my gosh. So you get here and you're in Nashville. A lot of Europeans were talking about how hot and how humid it was. That really
Yes,
shocked them.
it hits like a wall. And my first summer, I went to Mississippi, and that's a
Oof.
whole crazy story how I went to Mississippi. Can I tell it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we're here for. Love it.
So sales school's crazy. Everything is like everybody's like loud and everything. Even though we are all Europeans, you guys make us being really really loud. I don't know how you make it,
It's true. It's
but
true.
it kind of was catching on it, but that's fine. So we get in our cars, we go drive down. So we try to avoid stopping because every time we open the door, it feels like something hit our faces and we're gonna drown in heat. But eventually, by the evening, so we don't have host families. At least four of us girls going in that car. We're two separate cities we need to go to. I'm living, thank goodness, with the manager. But we need to find a host family. So one way is how we do it is we go to churches to kind of meet people and see if
Mhm.
they know anybody who knows everybody, right?
Yeah.
So I scroll through internet on the manager's tablet, and I found there's an interesting church. And as I read through, I realize it's a black church.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I we have very similar first summers, but keep going. That
So
sounds
we arrive in the city of Moss Point, which is like 90% of black population. And so we go in the area that was later on crossed out from sheriff, who said just avoid this area and you'll be fine. But I go into this church. First of all, it's empty, so service starts at 7 p.m. And I was sitting in the front because I wanted to see. I'm short. But the first person came and said, could I like couple of seats back? And the craziest thing, so people come in and it's all I remember is singing, singing, singing. Everybody
Yeah.
sang really good. But the
Oh, happy
pastor,
day.
but not even
So
that, the
good.
pastor, he wasn't talking. He was sitting at the piano and explaining how he almost never got to this place because car broke and everything, and like Holy Spirits and everything. It was like that was overwhelming. But then the craziest thing I felt like in the movie, there's this kid in the like a row over, and he starts choking. Like he's like 10 or something. And like, okay, that's weird. And they start like somebody actually starts helping, but everybody else starts singing, "Oh Lord, help" or something like that. I'm just like, what is going on? Like this kid is choking and you guys are singing and like why and how and like
No way.
what? And I'm the only white person there, of course, and one alone, a 19-year-old tiny little girl from who knows where, and I'm crying because of the shock. I'm not sad. I'm not happy. Like I'm just there's yeah, my face doesn't know how to react to this, and the kid's fine eventually, and I'm just like kind of a bit shaking. Like what? What?
My God. That's did you
The amount
they
of singing is just why?
it's such a cool culture. So my first summer was very similar. When we went to this black church and we walked in, we were late, and so we get in there and there's only seat in the front. There's only seating in the front. So we're walking up, and it's like when Jesus walks and everybody's singing, it's like loud. The energy is just
Yeah,
so intense. It's more than sales school. It's like sales
yeah.
school. It's like just
Well,
this
not like
crazy.
European sales school.
No, you're right. It's like United States sales. We're just super high energy, and we get in there, and obviously people are like, "What the hell?" And I'm brown, which is good. One of my other two, I was the two guys. Steve Dyden, he's Asian descent, and then Josh Martinez, so he kind of is like a mix kind of looking kid. So we weren't like white Latvian 19-year-old girls, but the idea of just this experience, it's so bananas. It's beautiful. It's so like you wish that more people had that kind of energy and all of the things that they did. It's just such a cool experience. And we found our host family there. Did you find yours there?
No, they were too poor.
It's
It was
tough.
the
Yeah.
really really poor region. We did find somebody who helped us with hosts through a different church, a Baptist church way up in the nowhere. Still in contact with that lady who helped us. uh, she hosted us like before going home once because she was too far out for me to bicycle. but she helped us to get us even closer and closer to my turf eventually to
That's
live.
so cool. That's cool. That's so fun. And so you got to experience that at its the black church experience. It's such a cool thing to see.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Oh man. So you were in Mississippi. It's brutal.
Yeah. But
and
I
and
loved it. Like I'm just a I don't know, I just like talking to random people I would normally never meet, and I think they felt it, so they kept talking with me. Uh, Especially like the black people, they were so fun. Like
yeah.
I was so energized after them because like all our conversation was with a lot of hands and very loud, and it was very like all over the place, and it was so much fun. And I just yeah, beginning I had a little bit more white people, then again more black people, and then in the end again more white people, so the middle part was the most exciting. And I still remember this one mom saying, "Girl, you're in the wrong neighborhood, we're all black here."
Oh my god.
It was
What an
really fun.
experience. Is there a large black population in Latvia, or is it pretty? I'm imagining.
I can probably count them with including like my toes and fingers, we can probably count them all.
Unbelievable. That's so this is like wow
Yeah.
for you. Like this is really shocking.
Latvians
Whoa.
cannot not stare on a black person just because it's like somebody's driving by a pink Ferrari. Like you don't care if it's cool or not, you just want to see what is it.
It's so beautiful.
It's
It's
like
so
you don't
different.
know to like it or not, you just want to look.
Yeah, it's just shocking. It's like a beautiful, it's like a sunset. You're just like, wow.
Yeah,
That's not an everyday thing. A pink Ferrari. I like that. That's exactly right. Wow. So that the culture shock. And I imagine that's kind of like see for most people when they sell books in general, that is kind of a little bit of the experiences. Like, you have someone from Nebraska. So we were here going to school in Nebraska, we're kids, and we go to Massachusetts, which is not the nicest place in the United States. As far as people are mean. They don't mean to be. They're fast, and so they
so
don't.
like
To us, it seemed mean. It was just like, hey, what do you need? You're like, oh, I'm just selling. Yeah, but what kind of books? I'm like, it's just education. Yeah, well, how much are they? Like, they're just come on, get to the point. I got places to be, but they weren't being rude. They don't mean to be. It's just like we're moving. Come on, let's
driver
go.
personalities, get to the point, yeah.
Yeah, and so in Nebraska, it's not like that at all. It's a lot more relaxed. Hey, how are you? Everything good? Good. Look at the weather. It's so nice outside. Yeah, yeah. The crops are good this year. It's just so slow. So you
Yeah.
get there and it's just a shock. So I can imagine it's similar to that if you've never seen a have you met black people in your life before up to that point, or was
No,
that like this was
no.
brand new?
Just
Wow,
TV,
that's
that's about it.
bananas. Just on TV, that's bananas. That's
Mhm.
that's got to be shocking. So you go through the first summer. How did you decide to come back? I mean, you love the whole experience, or how did you get it to the point where you're like, all right, I got to do this again?
It's a funny story. First week I like had like a couple of units that probably didn't pull through because I didn't know what I was doing. Second week I didn't have any customers. But by the end of the second week, when I called my mom, I was like, damn, like I don't remember what I said, but it was something like that. I really need to do this again. I have no idea what I'm doing, but like this thing is so cool. People are cool. The things that I'm doing, the things I'm learning, I'm just gonna do it again. Even though I made zero money and I was already in debt while I'm in the summer, not just from back home money, but also
Right,
from yeah, I borrowed a little bit from my the manager that I had there with me.
right,
But on the Sunday when I had the talk with my OL, he asked, "So what I'm gonna do?" Because I was really running out of money because I almost took basically nothing because my permit cost uh, 2/3 of the money I had.
right.
So basically, I just said, "Well, I'm just gonna start selling." So the sell I did.
Whoa. So what did you figure out that worked for you?
No idea.
You
I
just
have
it just
no idea.
started
I just
clicking,
the mindset that this week I need enough cash to pay back to Lasma. So I got that, and then I needed enough to pay for breakfast. So I got that. This is engraved in my mind since childhood, basically, because my mom has somehow said, "You're gonna have exactly enough money. If you need it, you're gonna have it. If you don't know what you need the money for, you're not gonna have it." So that's why I always have exactly as much as I have put down as I need, and not a cent more. It's a
That's
cool at
interesting.
the same time, a little bit of a curse.
Yeah, what happens if you put a million? I need a
Well, I need a
million
purpose
dollars.
for that million.
I
So
see
if I
what you're
know
saying.
exactly, if I have like a budget out on what I would need that money and exactly time frames where I can actually put it down, I'm gonna get it. So far, I always have and probably always will. But I cannot just say a million because what does it stand for? By what time I need it? Why I need it? And yeah.
That's pretty cool. And that's actually a good lesson there. It's kind of like crystallizing your goals, and if you just trust the
Mhm.
process, it just kind of like works out.
Yeah, and it always does. As long as you know it is going to work out, if you have a goal, if you have certain steps, even though if you don't know how all the steps gonna work out, yeah, I will persist until I succeed.
Yes, that is awesome. I love that. So, okay, so let me break down. So you had 6 summers.
Mhm.
So Mississippi, where was the next
Yep.
one?
Montana.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It
Wow.
was, yeah. Well, first we started in Billings, which is more like deserty. Still had that
Yeah.
cool rim though. That was like my jaw dropper most of the time. But then we moved to Kalispell, which is have like the glacier nearby, and
Yeah. That's oh my God.
I had the best host in Palmer with the highest spot. So there's this big lake. I forgot the name of it, but it goes like up the Palmer city. And I was here living. There's this big lake, and there's this big mountain range. I guess something like that. It was so pretty. I sail when I see mountains. What I have realized over the years, it calms me
Palmer,
down. Palmer,
Montana?
yeah, I think it was called Palmer. It definitely started with a P, so it's just under Kalispell. Black
Yep.
um,
So you got oh my gosh.
or
I'm in the
Polis,
wrong place.
Polisa? No, so
This
just
is
under
beautiful. I'm
Kalispell.
spending time here because I Montana is I think the most beautiful state in the United States.
I beg the Alaska would be mine because that's my third summer, the
You
best
oh okay.
summer.
All right. Fair enough. Alaska is also very beautiful.
Polson
Wow.
Mountain. Okay.
Poles from Montana.
Mhm.
Um so you went to Alaska. That must have been a trip.
I was an OL there.
That's wild. So is it true that the sun sets super late so you can sell until like 11
Yeah.
o'clock?
10 o'clock, you can still do cold calls, and even if you're kind of scared to still knock, just drive around. People with kids will be outside because it's nice, usually nice weather, just above freezing, and they are everybody's home. It's light, so because they're celebrating that it's finally light outside. Because during the winter it's super dark and nobody does anything, and in the summer they let their kids roam through all up until middle of night just because to enjoy the light.
That is so wild.
Yeah.
Golly. So hold on. So you sold so okay, Montana, that's beautiful. Then you go to Alaska. This it's bright all day. You're selling late. What's the latest customer you had, do you think?
Well,
Can you
now I
remember?
don't remember particularly, but in general, I know I had once. I don't know which state it was it, but my latest customer where I went in was way after 10 because I went out like 11 something. But I had this guy in. He's right now selling books. Yanis Strapcans, Ginet's husband to be. Uh,
Okay.
and he was in my org. He's the same year as me. Started same manager as well, and he tended to he never gave me stats because he was working way past 11, and I was OL. I cannot go to sleep unless Yanis goes to sleep. and
Right.
he's not home, and he's living with the first year who's also sometimes not home, and he sometimes needs to be gotten from somewhere in the middle of nowhere, because Alaska is middle of nowhere most of the part. It
Yeah.
was, yeah, I was never the latest worker, but Alaska was really nice for that. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Did you see some brown bears? Did you see some grizzlies?
So it's a black bear in Juneau, which is the capital.
Yeah.
But it was in a like reserve. It was not really hungry. He had a lot of salmon.
The-
But I did get a bunch of times asked, "Do you have a bear spray?" Like, you need a bear spray. And sometimes I was given a bear spray to go up certain street, and then I needed to just put it back where I got it because it's expensive. So they just lended it me. So in case, because there's a bear roaming there, there's a bear roaming there, just take this. But
That's so
my first year
crazy.
actually got the bear spray with her back here in Latvia because our host family was worried about her.
Wow. Wow. That is so I can't imagine selling in Alaska. That is so fun. I mean, I can imagine it, but it's gotta be excuse me, it's gotta be just a crazy it's so
And my
crazy.
first year is right now back there in Alaska as an OL, and I was so happy hearing that she's back. Two of those that year's first years are now back in Alaska, and those were like the best who sold. Like almost all of us sold Sizzler. There were 8 of us, and only one of us didn't get Sizzler by the end.
That's amazing. So okay, so hold on. So Montana, so okay, Mississippi, Montana, Alaska. Where did you go after that? Where did you downgrade to your fourth summer?
Mormon, Utah.
Oh baby, also beautiful. Also very
Super
beautiful.
beautiful, but I was not in the right mind because I had this amazing summer in Alaska where everything just clicked because we had so many actual problems that the book field felt super easy. So in Utah, we had zero problems. Everybody had a place to live, everybody had a car, everybody was good to go. So most of them quit.
Cool. See you guys later. Early champions. Goodbye. You
Yeah.
quitters. So that was Utah, and then 5 went to
Canada, I went to Alberta.
oh,
Yep, because I this something went up with my university, and I was just not feeling continuing it.
fair enough.
Took me
So the
six and a
visa
half
so the
years to finish my bachelor's, but I I did that. Yeah.
same. Same. We've had similar experiences. I didn't sell in beautiful Alaska, but yes, it took me, I think it was also 6.5, might have been 7.5.
Yeah,
Um,
after 4 years, it doesn't matter when you finish it as long as you do.
yeah, I mean, 7.5, like on a timeline. It didn't take me 7.5 years of studying.
Of course.
I took a couple of years off or whatever, but I'm just saying from when I graduated high school to college, it was 7.5 years later.
Yeah.
Um, so you went to Alberta, Canada, and then I'm curious about the COVID summer. How was that? Where did you go and how did that go?
So went to UK because most of us did.
Right.
After I had a little bit of a breakdown in Canada because I was living a bit too much alone,
Mm,
and also not having an org and not having so much extra responsibilities. It's not helpful on your brain function in the book field. You just start thinking too much about things you shouldn't think about. So it ended not so well, but that's why I
uh,
was starting UK summer really well. I ended up in a mort call. We have this, I don't know if if Americans have it. So
mhm.
mort call on Sundays, where I
Is it?
explained.
It's
Yeah.
if you hit mort, you get invited to the mort call, right?
No, it's basically whoever is doing good, sharing tips and tricks. I was nowhere near
Oh, I
Mort.
see.
We
I
just
think it
called
was
Mort
called.
call just to give advice to people who want to hit eventually Mort because these are the people who kind of do good at this time in this situation.
Right. Yeah, there's I don't remember what it's called, but there's a call that there's like when you get um yeah, advanced sales. It's like a yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so we just call it their Mort call. I don't know
And you
why.
did that in UK?
Yeah,
Wow.
because in the first 3 weeks, I was really persistent. I had my mind in the game. I was plans everything out. But then at one point, we couldn't work anymore past 8:30 in the evening because it's UK and people like to sleep and it's kind of dark.
Yeah.
And in America, we get complaints, but we never like actually like act on them. uh, but in UK, since we were not like it was the first year when the mass students were going door to door selling kids books and some also educational books for school, which are not necessarily 100% applicable to the schools there. So kids
Right.
books are the ones who usually rock the most. But yeah, so something just went off. I had way too much free time to think about things, started to think about my business back home too much. And yeah, after those 3 weeks, just started to go down and down, a little bit up and down and down. So after that, I just realized okay, since I am only focusing mostly on my business back home, I might as well just do that and then start teaching a little bit.
It
Yeah.
is time.
Yeah.
And then that was it. Wow. That's a good reason, honestly. I mean, I always
That's what
think
I
that
thought.
people
Yeah.
I always think that most people stay one summer too long. I've heard that a lot, at least on the show before people talk about it. It's like I should have left the summer before.
Yeah.
But, it just I mean, at least that's what that's what most of the people have said, and that's what I experienced myself personally. But sometimes people leave right at the right spot. So, but
Because I was on the way. So that's the sad part is I needed to go to US. I was doing good with my school. I went to the embassy. I gave my passport. The next day they closed the embassy and they didn't print my visa.
bummer.
I was like,
That's it.
why? Because it would be a perfect summer to sell in America because as pandemic starts and people need education at home. So sometimes I'm thinking maybe I just to make enough money to like do a wedding and just go back and sell some books and
That's brutal. Well, but what the thing is though is if you look back now, it sounds like you're doing what you love, right? So it's such a cool thing to know that it's like it worked out. It worked out. Like kind of like the money thing. It just kind of ends up working out, in the end, and it just starts becoming you start realizing, oh, there's more to life than just doing this book thing, and
but I like the book thing as long as there's something that did not work and I kind of have a little bit of remorse like what was it like it was enough long time ago that you start to miss it. But after that summer,
okay.
it was like, no, 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 never again.
There, yeah, yeah, I think so. I understand what you're saying.
Mhm.
I think I've learned that about myself too during doing this show, because there's parts of me that I'm like, man, there was something about it. You can't really put it in it. I don't know that it's knocking on doors, but I don't know. Maybe it was the people. Some of it. I think it was a little bit of everything. Where you're like,
Yeah.
it was nice to have that group of people who kind of understood
Mhm. Yeah.
you.
Yeah. That's a
You know,
huge thing.
but then also, no. Yikes. I like this. I like this better.
Yeah, because yesterday I was exactly thinking I'm outside and it's like the super heat that I Mississippi was even hotter and I'm like a book bag right now and a door and I'm already sweating and I'm doing nothing. I'm gonna rethink this.
Yeah. Yeah, or yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's been hot here in Portland. It's actually nice again today. It's back down to 80, which is perfect. Um, but it was 100 yesterday. And I'm thinking, man, there is some kid in like Arkansas right now. There's some kid in Virginia right now knocking on some door, and he or she, there's a dog. The dog's fucking barking. And it's just annoying, and he's just trying to be like, hi, are you are you the it just and then he's about to get yelled at, or dad's pulling up on the truck. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Or
yeah,
some
yeah.
mom's typing something on Facebook. or just right now. It's happening. It's happening right now. Right now. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
poor
fuck
people.
that. I don't want to do that.
But
I'm
I
happy
did
here.
follow up on like what's going on in their book girl bookman pages to my Alaskan people, and I'm just glad to see that some days they have 3 pictures of clients and like yes, they're doing good. Alaska's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. You can see who's doing well because they're posting to the pages. It's like,
Yeah,
I haven't heard from you in a couple of days. What's going on?
yeah,
How's that
yeah. That's
movie?
a
How they were off schedule. Oh
It's
man.
funny that you mentioned the dog part because it's a huge deal in general. Because a lot of people have dogs, and I have the So basically, when I was 12, we got a dog, and my mom sent me and the dog to the dog school. So I actually have a license. I'm a licensed dog handler.
Oh no way. That's awesome.
So every time I follow anybody, I explain them how to deal with dogs, which ones they should not step out of the car, which ones do whatever you want, they're not gonna bite, and things like that.
You did the dogology. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually kind of a tangent here, but so I just got a puppy about 5 months ago, and I got a second one about a month and a half ago. And the first one, I started watching these videos on YouTube from Oscar Mora and Michael Ellis, who are like very well known, like especially Michael Ellis, like really prominent US dog handlers and trainers.
Okay.
And it's amazing what they can get dogs to do. It's incredible. And
Hmm.
so I started using the training. My goodness, my puppy, he's 8 months old, but he's such a good dog. I mean, he heels, sits, bows, lays down, he comes like I mean, obviously it's just a work. It's
Yeah,
kind of a
it's just a
lifestyle. You have to do
daily
it every day.
thing. Hmm.
Yeah. Every day you have to do it. And sometimes I miss it. Like we kind of got off beat for a few weeks. We're starting
Hmm.
to get back because we got the new one. So we got to start, doing it again. But then she learns from him because
Yeah.
she kind of sees it. Oh
Hmm.
my God, it's so cool. when
Hmm.
when they listen, it's such a cool experience. So fun.
Yeah.
So fun. That's so fun. What are okay, tangent, and then we'll go into ponytails. Tangent.
Yeah.
What are the top 5 training tips for dog owners
For
that you
dog
can lead?
owners.
Yeah, for people who have dogs, like as a dog
Yeah.
owner, if I'm listening and I want to hear about from a dog handler, a certified dog handler, 3 to 5 tips that you're like, these are things you need to know about your dogs.
So right now I am training new puppy as well. My mom got a new one, and what I'm realizing is that a dog should not have multiple owners who have different styles of handling the dog.
Fair
If you
enough.
handle the dog, so either it's one person who does the whole handling thing, and the others kind of just like have a little bit of fun, but or it's everybody does everything, and so it doesn't contradict. So that's a big thing because that's how families a lot of time get these wild dogs because there's one strict one who they actually listen to, but then again, if they run away, run around, they don't really listen to anybody eventually. That's
That's
a huge,
beautiful.
huge one. Then if you want your dog to do anything, you have to figure out how like, so what is it that the dog needs to look at you.
Oh, like what? How to
So
motivate it? Like how to
yeah,
how to
how
how
to
to
make
engage
the
it?
dog look at you. For some dogs, it's just their name. For some dogs, is touch the dog. For some dogs, it's just a treat. Nothing else will work to look at you because that's the point when you can do any commands. If they don't look at you, then as a puppy, afterwards they don't have to look at you to do commands. If they look at you, you can teach them anything because that's when they trust you. That's when they are open to new suggestions in general. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So those are 2 big ones because out of those you can do anything else.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's beautiful. And 2 is good because you're right. That's all you need is
yeah.
those 2. Oh,
Everything
wow.
else, there's online stuff, checkpoints. Like there's different ways how to teach your dog anything, and there's different dog breeds who respond to different things. Some are really easy to train. Some are like you have to do every single day, otherwise they're gonna eat your neighbor. But it
Yeah.
all just comes down to getting attention to you and making sure who's the handler or what are the rules.
That's so cool. And you used all this knowledge when you would meet dogs. Were people ever like, "Whoa, how did you do that?" Did you ever run into that when you were in the
No,
book field?
I had this. So, oh, he's not barking at you, or like, oh, he's not like not trying to eat you, kind of. But like, I'm just standing there petting their golden retriever, who usually barks loud, but like, it's a golden retriever. It doesn't do much to other people.
Yeah, yeah. They're not that aggressive.
No, no. So yeah, with the dogs, I have been bitten, but usually they're the tiny ones who I
Yeah,
just don't know what to do with them. Like, that's
kick them.
not a dog in my.
That's a
Yeah.
that's not a dog. That's a cat that thinks it's a dog. You pick it up, you do this, and then you just kick it. That's what.
That's a joke that everybody tends to make in Southwestern. Yes.
Yeah, kick the dog. Kick the dog. Kick the dog. I do not endorse animal cruelty. That was a joke. Yeah,
Of course.
because somebody's gonna listen to this and go, "This
Yeah.
guy kicks dogs." No.
Yeah. There's.
However, I got bit twice, both times Chihuahuas.
Yeah. Yep. Because no matter what, no matter how professional is the handler in front of you, if the Chihuahua has the day and not the owner to hold them, they're gonna bite.
They're the worst. They're the worst. I
Mhm.
hate Chihuahuas. Oh,
Any yippy
anyway,
yappies are the ones who are most likely gonna bite unless they're chained down or shoved in somewhere.
or muzzled up. You got to muzzle with
Yeah,
they're
nobody
mean.
does that.
They're mean.
Yeah.
They're rude. Oh, the
Hmm.
worst. Oh man. All right. Okay. Cool. So now it's time for some ponytails. You ready for that?
Okay, let's see.
Now, hang on. So
Mhm.
think about some of them. I'm gonna do some quick more ads. This is good because our guests are always like, "Wait, I gotta think about this." So I'm gonna do some more shout
Mhm.
outs, and then by the time that I'm done with the shout outs, they're like, "Ooh, I thought of the two or three or whatever, however many you have is
Yeah.
fine with us." Okay, not as much ads, more announcements, guys. Make sure you go check out our website. It was provided to us by VDisain. That's by Oscar Coa and Oliver Reynes. They're the masterminds behind our upcoming website that is going to be launching the store tomorrow. So again, store theponytailspodcast.com. Tomorrow it's live. Go buy some stuff. Go sign up for stuff. Go watch episodes. If not, that's totally okay too. But if you own a business and you want an effective presence online, obviously we know that you need a good website. You can do one on your own for cheap, but if you wanted to have integrations with like a store, different channels, funnels, and stuff like that, you got to hit these guys up. They're going to help you get it set up for a fraction of the price because they are working out of Estonia. So that is super convenient for you all. Make sure you guys reach out to us. We can put you in touch with them to get a website going. Next up, we wanted to give a shout out to Nick Taverdi and Julio Hernandez and EnLight.Energy. If you have a passion for the planet and you want to earn some good money, you want to work with someone like Nick, someone like Julio or Alex Black, love you, Alex. You got to join them at EnLight. A sale every other week is a six-figure income, and they have the ability to work with people in every U.S. state. So you're not even selling anything above the price, so people aren't paying anything else. They're just going to be swapping bills to make sure they're saving money with solar instead of spending more on their electric costs, which are rising. Kind of crazy. Last but not least, Cardinal Senior Benefits started with us about 2 months ago. They had 27 former book people, and they are currently at 31. So they have gained some awesome people on their team because they heard about it here on the podcast. So one of the main reasons that those people came on board with Cardinal was because of the culture and the system that they have set up. They've done an amazing job at taking the best cultural aspects of Southwestern, like the camaraderie, the hands-on training, and the fun, and they remove the worst parts like the cold calling and the 80 hours a week, that lack of freedom, all that jazz. On top of all that, you can make really good living without having to sacrifice a lot of your time or your family time. So the numbers bear it out. Every single week, their top performers have been making or grossing about $12,000 to $15,000 per week. And they have done that while averaging about 31 to 34 hours. As we mentioned before, Cardinals in growth mode. They're looking to double again in 2022. So if you want to find out why a lot of people are going to work over there, go ahead and refer yourself for a friend. We can't promise you a job, but we can get you an interview. And they love to talk to people who are interested. They also have a $500 referral bonus for anyone that they hire. So boom, you can make some money too. That is all. Now, time for some ponytails. So the mic is yours. Share with us some of your favorite stories. Let's hear about it.
So one of my favorite stories is, of course, from Alaska. Love that place. It had so many problems that we definitely don't have time for all of them. But the biggest thing is that in Alaska, there's 700,000 people, and 300,000 of them live in one spot. So that means if 8 people want to sell for the whole summer and nobody quits, you run out of turf.
Yes, you do.
And so, because I had it nicely planned, everything like on an Excel sheet, but by the last 2 weeks, everybody didn't have any place to sell for some reason. I had an Excel sheet that said differently, but okay. But nobody quit. We eventually, basically, I needed to move myself in already after 8 weeks. I was working in Anchorage, which is the big city. I moved with my first year, who was doing super well. She already had sold Sizzler by that time. So she had nothing to worry about whatsoever. She was like, yeah, sure, let's just fly wherever. So we needed to fly to Juneau, which is the capital, but it is, so this is inland Alaska, and this is like I'm probably showing the other way around, but doesn't matter. So Alaska, Canada, and then there's this little strip that's still Alaska. That's like islands and half islands and stuff. So we flew there, started to work. We had no place to live, no cars, no nothing, because the car was $400 a week. I was like, I ain't gonna pay
Yeah.
that. So, but there was an issue with it. I eventually ended up with a bicycle, but then eventually she found us a host that has a spare pickup truck. I am 5 feet tall, and they have a spare pickup truck, which is smaller than their actual pickup truck, but it's still a large pickup truck. So I ended up jumping in and out. That was a lot of sports. But
Oh my gosh, you're driving this big, the big rig, and you're tiny.
so I had that for like 2 weeks. For the so in Juneau, just in 3 weeks, we changed five, 6 times HQs. That was in the first week. So every day we slept somewhere else.
And
One
you're just
place we slept 2 nights in a row.
you're hopping. You're
Yeah,
hopping. You're
because it's either too expensive, or in the cheap place they don't have place, and you cannot go to the expensive place. And yeah, so Juneau would be
right here.
yeah, that's where Juneau is. Mhm.
So
Oh,
you guys
nice.
were selling you guys were
Mhm.
selling up here.
In Anchorage, yeah, most of the us in the beginning, yeah, everybody was around there, but then we kind of spread it out. Our Sunday meetings were online,
Wow.
and I'm the OL, and I moved away.
So you're out here and you're selling in Juneau
Yeah, a bit down
and all
somewhere.
this
Yeah,
area.
is that Juneau?
What in the world? Yep.
Yeah, that's
Right
Juneau.
here.
Yeah, and then I worked on the island as well, but that was mostly with the bicycle. So we had this weird situation. We Yeah, in this middle of second week we moved to our permanent house with the really cool host family. Loved the area. Everybody was so super cool, super nice. But so it's 11 weeks. We sell 12 weeks. We run out of turf. Us, me, and my roommate, we don't have enough here in Juneau even anymore. This is the smallest spot, and yeah, I don't know if you can ever see that in a map, but some of those streets that are up in where there's Alaska State Capital, where that point is somewhere.
Right here.
Yeah, so in that area where your mouse is, some of the streets are actually stairs, literally stairs. So they have a street name. It looks
Oh,
like a street. So if you keep going more towards mountains, any so the other mountains, yeah,
wow.
the,
This way? Oh,
yeah, that way. Hmm.
so these are
So
stairs
yeah,
right here?
so up there, so there are stairs. So Fifth Street, it continues down. So going upwards, this is all road, but then if you go, the Fifth Street doesn't end; it turns into stairs.
Oh my
towards the
gosh, you guys
center.
had
It
to go
just
all the way up there?
Yeah, so I parked my bicycle somewhere. I didn't have a key, so I just put it in the bushes and then climbed up the stairs, did approaches in this area. They had kids there, which was surprising to me. And then I climbed down. Took my
Oh
bicycle,
my
went a little bit
god.
down, and did the same thing.
That's so wild. So you ran out of turf again?
Yeah, so we needed to take a ferry to Ketchikan, which first I thought was named Ketchup, but then I realized it's Ketchikan. And so for the last week, me and my roommate sold in Ketchikan. We didn't have bicycles. We didn't have. We had a host family from couch surfing, which is the great thing. But do you know anything about Ketchikan?
No, I have no clue.
So it's the second rainiest city in the world, if I'm not mistaken, because the first one was somewhere in Asia. So
And it's
basically, they
just
only have 1
wet.
week of sunny weather. We were not in that week. We were
Oh
just
my
past
god.
that week. And so, thing about really rainy places is that they have this really interesting road system. So it's just like by the coast. It's not really an island. It's just by the coast, and there's islands like across, and the roads go by. But next to the roads, they're usually like little cliffs that are like twice the size of me. And then there's this big, like, I don't know what you call it, like a dump where water usually stays.
All right. So like a
So
main like a
road,
state for water, right?
yeah,
Um I know what you're talking about. It's like yeah, you see them when you're driving on the coast. There's like a
yeah,
there's like a what's the name of this? I know what you mean. The
yeah,
water kind of sits there so it doesn't flood the road up. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
when it was raining, well, it was pouring. I changed 4 umbrellas in my first week there. I didn't have any. And then first day, four umbrellas. I played this game. When I asked people when they were almost closing the door, hey, could you trade this wet umbrella to a dry one? And they did. And eventually I ended up with a really, really big umbrella that I used for the rest of the week. But
Oh my
about the
god.
road, so there's this little cliff, and when it is pouring down rain, it makes this really big waterfall. Like there's water falling, literally. Like if the next day when it's just sprinkling, because it never really stopped raining, it just changed the density of it, and it was just there was nothing there. But then the pouring times, it was just it felt like there's a river there coming down on the side of the road.
That's that's so crazy how much rain you were getting.
Yeah, and we didn't have umbrellas at the first point. Stepping off 11 a.m. Off the ferry, we went to our host, put out their bags, and went working each in separate direction, 1 foot, hoping to get any transportation. I did find somebody who got me a car. It worked for 2 days, then it died. But then I got a bicycle. It was a really good bicycle, but I was really far away from HQ, so I couldn't really drive bicycle. So I had a goal on a Friday to find somebody who's gonna rent me a car for $100. At 9 p.m. on Friday, I got the dude who said, "Yes, come tomorrow in the morning with the bus. I'm gonna give you a car."
Oh my
Plus, I sold them
god.
also some books, which I kept reminding. They had like grandchildren. Kept reminding. Remember, they're $100 cheaper because I'm gonna pay you for the car, and I cannot drive away with it because there's no roads connecting this place to any place.
I'm stuck here.
Yeah, yeah. I can get there back by a plane or a ferry that goes on set times.
Oh my goodness. This is so crazy. You're just like a rogue. Like
Yeah,
we don't have this problem in the mainland. You just go to the next town. It's just like
yeah,
we're a
no,
scarcity of scarcities. You're just running out
yeah.
of places to go.
Like I could go somewhere with a ferry or with a plane, and the plane is works way different in Alaska. It's basically like a bus ride. It has its stops, and they don't have any checkpoints or like customs or nothing. They just have this little shed they stop by. A commercial airline stops by a little shed, lets out people, waits a little bit, gets in some people, and we continue flying to the next little shed.
Holy shit! This is crazy. This is
Yeah, no
selling in
wonder,
Alaska, baby.
because I think Alaskan those credit cards have the best point systems. Alaska
Yeah,
Air.
Alaska Airlines. Yeah, yeah. My
That's the
wife, my
reason
wife has an
why.
Alaska Airlines credit card because yeah, they have a ton of points. Like she gets so many points from using it when we fly in the West Coast.
Because people have to use it to get anywhere in Alaska. Because ferry is extra slow. It took us way over
Yeah,
20 hours to get to Ketchikan with the ferry, so we thought never again.
yeah. The ferry, guess yeah, especially because they have to navigate through all the islands and all the
Mhm.
that whole group. Yeah, that's so wild.
But we did see whales.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it was cold and windy, but we saw a tail.
That's amazing. I saw whales while selling books.
Yeah,
Boom.
yeah. Whales,
That's
bears, glaciers, every type of dog.
oh my god. That's so crazy. So then you guys kept selling and then the summer you had enough turf the rest of the summer and it worked out.
Well, somehow the guys who said they ended their turf by the 6th week in their area, I moved them away, and suddenly they realized they don't like the up area. So they said, "Well, we actually do have enough kind to finish off the last week down there in the
Oh.
nicer area." Suddenly, everything was fine, except for one guy. The first year, I sent him to a city that there was no way almost to get a permit in, so of course he didn't get it. He was starting to sell. He was put out by police in the first hour. So he ended up selling on a Saturday in a Russian community. Um, they have this religious thing though. On a Saturday, you cannot buy or do any deals. Yeah,
That's
unlike
very
Mormons,
unfortunate.
who somehow it's like Mormons don't buy anything on Sundays, which is only half the truth. If they really want it, they will. But yeah, those Russians knew.
That was they were disciplined. They were disciplined in their faith.
Yeah, yeah,
My God, what a crazy summer to sell books in. That's so bananas to sell in Alaska. That's cool.
yeah, yeah. I changed
Wow.
5 cars and 2 bicycles in that summer, and walked and
And,
was on foot for 3 days
and four umbrellas
uh, in that day.
for that one day.
Yeah, because in Juneau we had other umbrella system.
Wow, that's so crazy. That is a we never had someone who sold in Alaska and like succeeded. I mean, I don't think we've had anybody who sold in Alaska in general, but that's
Well,
so
we had
or
a
we might have,
Latvian
but I don't know.
basically rogue there. One, he was alone and selling in Juneau before, so it was really nice for the first year to sell over. And she's like super super nice and doesn't know English very well, but very persistent. So that combination is just sizzler.
That's brilliant. That's wild. Bears and Alaska. All right. You know what? Cool. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah.
Oh man. Well, wait. Do you have more ponytails, or was that the main one that you had?
Well, that's definitely the biggest one. From my first summer, I will always remember this one cool family because I got my only referral that went through. I like in the end of the summer, I realized that there's this thing called referrals, and I finally asked somebody very vaguely, and they were headhunters themselves. The family, both mom and dad, were headhunters, so they really know how this thing works.
Yeah.
And so they called up their friend. I think he was the boss. I was at the boss's place, and he called up his friend who was kind of under him. We were very good pal, and there was no way I couldn't find the door at their house. The front door was obviously not used ever. There was I can see through window. There was something bolt like in front of it. But eventually, I got up the guts to kind of go in the back and climb up and knock on the door there, which was really scary. But then somebody quickly opens the doors. There's this guy who said, "Are you the book girl? Come on in."
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
In
and
Mississippi.
since it was a white dude, and his whole family was there, and I knew and he even looked very similar to the guy who referred. So it was really cool situation. He was yeah, he really wanted to hear my whole sales talk, to see how my sales talk works, and he knew already that he's gonna buy the same thing that his friend did, but that was the first year. I didn't know better, so I did the whole thing, had fun, and he got books, explore and learns. So that was really cool.
The good old explore and learns with the whole body map. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
Referrals are clutch. I don't think they use them enough anyway in Southwestern. I mean, it's just more like go to the next house. But who was it? Was it Dartha? I think Dartha
Data.
was one that, yeah, she was selling in Indiana when she was going
Hmm.
like from the Amish community, and she was like straight referrals. Like
Yeah.
she didn't. She just I'm gonna just get referrals and go to that house. She's brilliant. The
Mennonites
way
work the same way, because I had a little bit of Mennonites in yeah, in Alberta,
Utah. Oh, okay.
Canada. And so basically, because everybody knows everybody there, and they know exactly where they live, they know their names. Kids are way too many to count, so I never got those.
Yeah.
But everybody knew everybody, and it was between five different first names that I needed to learn to kind of like Agatha there, and that's the only one I remember now, and like certain others there, and I'm like, oh yeah, we know, and they got
Agatha, Rebecca, Judith,
yeah. Agatha was the most popular one that
Agatha.
yeah,
What a name. What a name.
yeah,
That's so awesome, man. Wow. Well, man, this has been so much fun.
yeah,
Uh it's 11:30 your time, so we're getting close. We're probably gonna wrap it up on this one. But oh my gosh, this is so fun. This was a cool episode. Thank you for sharing about the dogs. Thank you for sharing about the education. Thank you for sharing about Alaska. Thank you for being here. I hope you had fun.
yeah.
Um, oh my gosh. Well, I good luck with. I know you're going to be able to make your own school, so I'm not even going to say good luck because you're going to be able to do that, and I'm excited for to hear more and catch up with you about how that's going. That's so exciting. Uh, this has been a blast. Thank you so much.
Thank you for hosting me.
Yeah, anytime. And by the way, I'll be trying to visit Europe, and if I am in Latvia, I will come and see you and say hello, and
Yeah,
and and, and just
I'm
kind
on
of
the
hang out.
Facebook couch surfing page. So if somebody puts on they need a spot in Latvia, I can figure out something always.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much again. My name is Andres Gamboa. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Uh, if you guys are listening to this, there's going to be a July 4th special episode. That's going to be our closing of season 5. And then we're not back again until July 17th with Mitchell Steffen. So we're going to be taking a little bit of a break in between seasons. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. This concludes officially our European month. So awesome. Thank you so much for ending with an awesome story about selling in Alaska. That is so cool. You guys have a good one. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Make sure you to subscribe, follow. More on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and of course, YouTube. See you, everyone. Bye.